Hi guys, I'm talking to y'all at 3 in the morning. Fun, fun, fun. Anyways, we're getting ready to load the horses, but we've had a few bumps in the road, one being that they've knocked down 2 boards. So I'm hoping all the ponies are in the pasture because it is pitch black. As y'all can tell behind me, you can't see a thing. But we're about to let them in, and then we're gonna put Lime and Peaches on the trailer as we're taking Lime and Peaches, which I'm super excited about. But right now I'm still very tired as it's 3 a.m. And right now it's raining and that's not helping us. But Lime, I feel like, is one of the most awake ponies in the morning that I've ever seen. Because here's Penny, like snoozing and eating her grain. And then there's Lime, looking out the window to see what we're doing. Anyways, I'm excited for today, and I'm going to try and vlog throughout the day. I just wanted to film my intro, so I'll see you guys in a minute.
Ever since the day that you went away, you've been sending flowers to me, flowers today, instead of sending flowers, come back to me, and hold me in your arms again, flowers to me, flowers today, send me no flowers today, instead of sending flowers, come back to me, and hold me in your arms again, flowers.
God is sweet, yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares.
When we arrived at Tryon, we had to get Peaches and Lime in their stalls, get them bedded with sawdust and do their water buckets, and get them some hay. But after doing all of that, I went ahead and tacked up Peaches and got her ready to school, as we arrived around 7 or 8 a.m. at Tryon, which meant you could school in the ring without jumping. This is Peaches' very first time at Tryon, so I was a little bit nervous going into the ring, but Peaches calmed my nerves as she was perfectly calm going into the ring and didn't bat an eye at a single thing. We just trotted and then we cantered around, as you're not allowed to jump the jumps. But she was very calm, not spooky to how the bridges are that people are overlooking you. She was just so calm, which was very surprising as it was her first time being there. But here's us flatting. Her pace is nice and steady. She's not even trotting fast. Because normally, like when Lime arrives, she'll start out with a fast trot and then calms down. But Peaches is the same off property as she is at home, which is such a nice feature about her.
You did not know. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I give you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Then I did very little work on lead changes just to make sure she would change in the corners and where the turns were, as I looked at the jump course and looked at where she was going to have to change. Peaches was very good and picked up most of her changes. After riding Peaches and schooling her in the ring just so that she could see all the sights, Ava finally arrived and we went ahead and started grooming her as she had a few stains on her white socks. So I took a wet brush and just kind of scrubbed lightly, as Ava and I would be showing Peaches later in the day. So I don't want to completely and totally bathe her, as I didn't think she was going to dry in time.
The home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me. That's why.
So it was around 9 or 10 a.m. And we needed to get Peach's height card as we were going to be taking her in the schooling pony classes. And in order to take her in the schooling pony, she has to measure a pony. So the first things first is we had to jog her to show that she was sound. And then after that, we had to have an adult hold her so that the vet could look at her, make sure she was sound and everything. And then the guy on the right has to write down every single marking on Peach's legs, her head, and everything. It has to use the correct terms. So you'll see they move her forelock as Peaches has a white little dot above her blaze. So he also has to record that down. And that's just so that on her USCF membership that she doesn't get mistaken for another pony or someone else doesn't use her number and say that that's Peaches even though it isn't. And then the most important thing is getting her measured, and she measured at 14.1 We thought she was going to measure a little taller, but we were happy with that as she didn't measure over 14.2 hands, which is the maximum for a pony. We thought she was going to measure 14.1 and a 3/4, but she measured 14.1 which is fine. After measuring her for her height card, I went ahead and tacked her up and saddled up and started schooling her and warming her up for our USHJA 2-foot rounds. And I just did some light walk shot camera work as it was already pretty hot. Peaches was pretty calm in the schooling ring, and I was very happy with that as this is her first time at Tryon and her first time being at anywhere near as big of a venue as this.
Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own.
Okay, for this first round, it was just to let Peaches see all the sides, get used to the ring. And we start out with a trot. We're going to come across the diagonal as we're going to need to pick up our left lead, as the first jump will come in left and then turn off right. So we're still trotting. Peaches has a little bit of a looky entrance, but her pace is pretty slow and calm. And I pick up my canter once I pass this outside line jump. I sit down, I get my lead, and we're headed off to our first jump. Peaches has a super nice hunter pace going into this jump and is super steady. Okay, so please keep in mind that Peaches has never been over these type jumps. So when we hit this first jump, Peaches kind of just pops it because she's never seen anything like that. But I was actually kind of happy with that response as she just went right on over. She just kind of went, what's that? But anyways, we head off to this diagonal single, which is her very first oxer ever in a show ring, and she just pops it again because she's not used to all those boxes and flowers underneath. So I get a little bit of a cross, so I trot and then I fix it, and that was a pretty good transition to fix everything to get her together. And we head off to this outside line. We get a pretty good distance to this. Peaches still has a little bit of a big jump, but it smooths out by here, and she's starting to look a little more normal. So after this outside line, we're going to head to the diagonal line. I needed to have made my turn a little bit bigger and a little more like a diagonal. I kind of came a little straight into this. But anyways, we picked up our right lead and are heading down to the next jump. And we get a nice distance to that, and we landed on our left, so we have to change to our right lead. We're going to come down this outside line. So we come down this outside line, Peaches just kind of jumps it just fine. She kind of just strides most of it because it is only 2 feet, but for Peaches' first show, that's a good height for her as she's still getting used to being in a new place, in a new venue, and a rated show. Unfortunately, in that first course, we did not place as there were 11 entries, and we did have a few mistakes, and Peaches tend to have popped some of those jumps, so it wasn't smooth and steady. So for this next course, I picked up my right lead, and we're headed off to our first jump, which is a diagonal single. We come around this turn, our pace is very steady going in. We're not speeding or slowing. We're just headed off to the jump. We get it early, but that's okay. And we landed on our left lead, and we're headed off to the diagonal line. And I go ahead and I sit up on this turn just so I could get a better angle, but I still could have come out a little more to get a better turn. And then I squeezed her with a little leg just to get a little more pace to go over these jumps as they're a lot wider than what we have at home. And we land on our right lead again, as Peaches is fairly smart. After doing the first course, she kind of figured out which lead she needs to land on. And we head off to this outside line, and she jumps this much smoother And we come over the oxer, and she's very smooth, which is something I liked about this line, as she finally got used to the pace, used to the jumps, and used to being in the ring. And then we're headed to this green oxer, and I add a little bit of right leg as she's kind of starting to look at the jump, but she go ahead and went over, and we change off to this left lead. And to finish the course, we're headed to our outside line. And we get a very good distance to this outside line. And this was my favorite line of the day, as Peaches looks really good. And we actually ended up placing 7th out of 11 people. So I was really proud for Peaches' first 2 rounds ever on an A show, or a double A show, to have placed 7th. And then here's my courtesy circle. I just got cut off in the video. After riding Peaches, I went and grazed Lime with Ava, and Ava grazed Peaches. Hi guys, I'm here with Lime and Ava. I did 2 rounds on Peaches because it's her very first time at Tryon, and they went really well. And then all Ava and I have left are Lime, Schooling Pony 2-9, and then we have another Schooling Pony with Ava. But it's not supposed to start until 1:30, and it's like 12. So lots and lots of waiting time. Lime likes to graze during the times of waiting. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. No! Fashionable gummy bear socks. Ava has one, women's socks, if I can zoom in. Show your socks. Next up is me on Lime. If you guys can't tell the difference between Peaches and Lime, a quick way to tell is that Lime does not have 4 white socks, Peaches does. And Lime is a lot redder in color and a lot smaller looking on camera and smaller in person. So for this first round, it's actually the same course that I did with Peaches, as for whatever reason the ring has the same courses for USHJA, 2-foot, and Schooling Pony 2-9. But anyways, we're going to come around this diagonal, and as you guys can tell, I have a lot more pace on Lime than I did on Peaches. I actually wish I had a little less pace coming into that first jump, so then we wouldn't have had that chip. But now we're on our right lead, headed off to that green single that you guys seen before. And I'm starting to sit a little more, just a slower pace, but then I start to get a little light, and we get a fairly okay distance to this jump, and we're on our left lead. And we come off to this outside line, and we take the long, and I definitely get left behind. But then we get a good distance into the next jump, and the course continues on to this diagonal line. So we're coming off, and I'm on the left lead. Again, I need to have made this turn much bigger, and that would have led to a better distance instead of having to take the long. And we take the long again, as since the first jump of that line was long, the second one was going to have to be. And we come down to finish the course this outside line. If you guys haven't figured out, Lime is a lot faster, though she's smaller than Peaches. And we land off on the left and had to change to the right lead, and now we're doing our courtesy circle to finish up this course.
That's why I give you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas of you meant the world to me.
Next up is our second round for Schooling Pony 2-9. We're going to come along the fence. I definitely should have walked a little longer to keep Lime calmer. But anyways, I started my trot a little early. And I'm going to ask for the right lead, as the first jump requires the right lead. And that first jump is that green jump over there next to the gray Stonehenge jump. So we come around, and we're going to turn in front of the oxer over there. I should zoom in a minute. And we get a really good distance to this jump. And then I sit on my turn, but I'm kind of bouncing a little bit. But anyways, we're headed off to the diagonal line next. And I bring out my turn much better. But we still get a little bit of a long distance, but that distance was much better than the previous 3 courses. And then we change off to our right lead. I'm going to head to the outside line. And I come out and make a nicer turn than I did in the course before, as I got a chip to this line. We still get a tiny chip, but not as bad as the other one. And then we take the long right there. I actually think we left out a stride on that line. And then we come down to this diagonal single. And Lime is finally stretching into the bit and slowing. But then she opens her stride about 3 strides before that jump, causing us to get that chip. But anyways, we come around to this outside line. And we come over that one. 3, 4. And we take it in 5 when it should be 6 strides. It's actually 5 strides for a horse. And it's a common thing to see, though, that with Lime and I, we tend to get the horse stride when it's measured for horses and not measured at the large pony stride, as Lime just rather take the long distance than do the ad. But that's okay, as she does have more of a division stride than a children pony stride. I was really proud of Lime both of these rounds, as again we were just getting used to jumping 2-9 and all the big fluffy jumps, and just to get into the ring and work on fixing our pace during the courses. And this next course is me teaching Ava how to do what I call homemade plaits, as I am no professional braider, but I can still get the braids done and they look decent enough.
That's why I give you everything. Held you close by.
After finishing all my plaits, my family and I decided to go get dinner, but the first things first, I had to ride the carousel as it was free rides and it was open to anyone, so I made my sister ride it with me. About 2 hours after I finished braiding, Ava finally finished all her plaits. So when we arrived back at the barn, I went ahead and settled the ponies in, put their little night sheets on, and we said goodnight.
Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own.
Hi guys, I'm here with Peaches, and Lime is pouting, so let me walk over to her. There's Peaches, there's Lime. They kind of look like Siamese twins, but that's okay. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Anyways, we have finished all our rounds for the day. I've done rounds with Peaches, I've done rounds with Lime, and at this point I'm just exhausted because my day started out at 3 a.m. But I'm going to wrap up this vlog with a cute little picture of Lime, and thank you for watching. I had a great time today, and there'll be more videos from Saturday and Sunday. Bye! You get both of them.
I thought you were the one for me.